It's time to ride the funk train, babies, babies, babies. Oh my Lord. Oh my damn. It's time to count down the 100 top Atari games of all time in the land. And if it rhymes, it's true. It's been a few months, but we're here in 2025. And if the human race is still alive, we got to get to number one. And oh me, oh my, it's going to be tons. Oh, so let me tell you something. We're talking about the top 30 games of Atari. That means these are some of the best video games that have ever been created. You're not going to believe this. You're gonna go home and you're gonna slap your mom in the face, and she's gonna be like, "What?" And you're gonna be like, "Let me tell you something, Trick. I didn't hear about this game, and you should have told me back when I was 9 years old." And she's like, "What? Are you I just trying to. I had 3 jobs. I was trying." And you go, "Bam! You should have told me." It's gonna ruin your family. Maybe you shouldn't watch this list. No, watch it. I need the algorithm points.
Since the beginning of time, there's only been one website with the Babylons to claim every game reviewed when it came to the Pro System, and that's Atari7800forever.com.
But now it's time to get on that YouTube trip, babies. And who am I? I'm Funkmaster V, musician, ghost hunter, hat flipper, pro wrestler, comedian, actor, filmmaker, and I'm going to take you on a whirlwind tour of all things cool about Atari and the Atari 7800 with a podcast, news, even new crap. Baby, are you ready to get your groove on? Because it's about to get funky up in here. All right, the first game on the list might shock your Babylons. And I'm sorry about that, but I got to, even looking at this now at number 30, this may be a little low for this thing. This game was released on the Atari 50th Anniversary Celebration, and it's known as Vector Sector. That's how you pronounce that. It was made by Digital Eclipse a couple of years ago. What this game is it takes all of the great vector graphic games in Atari's library, and it combines the gameplay elements through 4 different stages that ramp up difficulty. It's obvious Asteroids, Lunar Lander, and Tempest are derivative source matter, but what's interesting is they add a lot of different flavors into this. There's a stage that's a little bit like Battle Zone meets Road Blasters. You'll see some old friends from Gravatar. There's gameplay elements with the 2-player mode that are a lot like Space Duel. And there's also an homage to Asteroids Deluxe. This is a twin-stick game, which means you drive with one stick and you shoot with the other. And the music is great. The graphics are great. The gameplay is great. It takes the best elements of those games and it makes it even better. I don't know if there's much to say about this title that is not good, except the Tempest screens are the most different than the source material because you don't have the Super Zapper. And there is no lady going, Super Zapper Recharge, which always gets me tingly in all my special regions. But really, if you've not played this game or you've had the 50th anniversary celebration, you haven't played this one yet, what are you doing? Rampart is a terrific idea, and it was originally released in the arcade by Atari Games, and that's the group that kind of did the Atari games after the split with the Tremels. And this game is a great idea. It uses a trackball, but I'll tell you something, it's very difficult. It combines kind of like this Tetris wall building element of building bases, and then you have to defend your bases with the reticle as all these pirate ships come in and they want your booty. Now, I don't know if it's the cash they want or your firm round buttocks, but whatever it is, you don't want to give it up. They don't have your consent. The arcade version was great, but I always thought it was extremely difficult. That's why I'm giving the nod here to the Lynx version. The Lynx version looks great, plays great, has all the features that you could stand, but yet I think it's a little bit easier to control with the D-pad over the arcade's trackball. This would come down to whatever particular taste you have, whether or not you prefer the arcade over the Lynx, but I think this is one of the best ports on the Lynx, and I think it improves the gameplay. It's very challenging. It keeps getting more and more difficult, and you can always challenge yourself to make your bases bigger Therefore, you have more cannons, and therefore you have more firepower. More firepower always means more fun, but it's also a little bit more dangerous when you take damage to your base to fix it in the time limit. Not an easy game, even on the links, but still a unique tour de force. It's definitely got that Atari flavor. San Francisco Rush also had a bunch of games that came after it, but a really good racer. This is another release from Atari Games. That's that arcade thing I just talked about in Rampart. And this title is awesome. If you don't like racing games, or even if you do, this one was great in the arcades. They had the big neon green sit-down gimmick where you could just kind of relax and throw your dollar bills into this machine as you ran to and fro trying to defeat these tracks and these cars. And you could also, at the arcade, it would hook up to other contestants. You could have your friends, you could have your enemies, you could have your lovers and your wife, whatever, it's up to you, whatever the party calls for. But the gameplay is fast, it's exciting. There are secret tracks and little exits and little sneaky things that you can discover. It's just a great game. However, I'm going to flip it on its head a little bit. I love San Francisco Rush, and I've actually thought about buying the machine to put in my house. I gotta tell you, I've never enjoyed a racing game as much as I enjoyed San Francisco Rush on the Nintendo 64 because of one gameplay option, and I'll tell you, the game is much uglier than it is in the arcade, but what brings me back is the long circuit that you can play that's kind of like you go from track to track to track, and it keeps points, kind of like NASCAR keeps points, or IROC, to award the winner at the end of the series of races. You can enable something called death mode, which means once you crash one time, you're out of the race, and it makes this game so much more exhilarating, satisfying. You're riding along and you crash in the beginning, you might get 10th place, and that'll really screw you for the points championship. I love San Francisco Rush on the Nintendo 64. Call me crazy. Say it to my face. We've had some hard decisions here on this list of which version of which game to put in this list. Missile Command has had some interesting releases. I mean, it came out for the arcade. It required a trackball and a bunch of different buttons. But most people played this with the Atari 2600, and even though you don't have 3 towers, I think the Atari 2600, with its deceptively good graphics, the simplicity of it, and all the game variations, makes this slightly superior to the arcade version. Even though I like the arcade version pretty well, I'd rather play the 2600 version any day of the week. The gameplay is simple, it's kind of terrifying, it kind of existed when we always thought Russia was going to bomb us in the 80s at the end of the Cold War. It taps into that fear of missiles coming and blowing up our cities. You control a reticle, you're going around the screen, blowing up incoming missiles like most of these old games. Doom is imminent, so hold on to your butts, and hopefully by the time you let these cities explode, your wife was able to get the kids in the station wagon so she could go to her mother's. This may be one of the best movie tie-in games ever for an Atari system. It may be one of the best ones in the world, and I'm talking, we're putting this up next to like GoldenEye and whatever that Vin Diesel game was, Chronicles of Riddick. Who watched that movie? I never even heard of it. This is kind of like the same thing. You may not like Gremlins at all, the movie, and it doesn't matter because this game is unique, it looks great, and it plays great. You're a kid with a sword, which, hello, that's, I don't know, that seems more barbaric than a gun. But this looks like Robotron in a way, but it's more of a melee game where you're slicing gremlins in half, and you're picking up the cute little koala bear, teddy bear versions of the gremlins. If you're not familiar with the lore of the show, the Mobwai, the Mobwai, the Muwai, I don't know. It sounds like I may be doing an incantation of a demon spirit. I gotta watch out. But whatever the cute little Ewok teddy bear guys are called, something with the letter M, If they eat something after midnight, they turn into these nasty gremlins. If they hit water, they double. The gremlins do, and the cute little buddies do. Your job is to pick up the little teddy bears, put them in the pen, and kill all these slimy gremlins. You're trying to prevent these Moabs? I'm not sure. You're trying to prevent them from turning into the gremlins. There's a lot of different obstacles as the levels progress. There's a television set that kind of hypnotizes these gremlins, which I can relate to that. There's a refrigerator that shoots out ice, and if the ice melts, the gremlins or the Moabs, they all double. There's a popcorn machine where, hey, if these little cute guys eat anything out of the popcorn machine, they're going to turn into the gremlins. Your whole task is to save the little cute guys in the corner, put them in the pen, and kill all the bad guys. It is a truly unique game, a lot of different variation, and one of the best games for the Atari 5200, bar none. Sometimes people sit there and they're like, hey, why do you play this old Atari jive, dude? What's wrong with you? And I gotta tell you, once in a blue moon, Atari knocked it out of the park. This was the first killer app of all time. This version of Space Invaders not only improved upon the shoot 'em up that we all know as the venerable classic that was released in Japan, not only is this game competent, it's actually superior to the arcade version. Not only superior, vastly superior. And there's a few reasons why. Number one, you have a crap ton of options. You can have invisible shields. You can have no shields. You can have super fast aliens. You can have zigzaggy bombs. You can have controlled shots. You can play two-player. You can play extra fat laser cannons that need to go on Ozempic, like Kelly Clarkson, to get smaller. But that makes it tougher to be the super fat version of yourself. And also, it makes it tougher to get a wife. So, hey, slim down if you can. But if you like the challenge, get fat in real life and try to get a hot chick. And also play the fat laser turrets here in Space Invaders. It makes it tougher. And the coolest thing about Space Invaders is how it ends. You're going to lose. And when they land on Earth, the game's over. No matter how many extra men you have. But what makes this title the greatest is it's home of the first cheat code I ever was aware of. If you put the cartridge in the machine, hold down reset as you power the machine on, you get double shots. And double shots makes this game frickin' cool. Space Invaders, it looks rudimentary. One of the best games of all time, especially on the Atari 2600. Atari has been toying with revamping their IPs, and they should, because they have some really cool intellectual properties. And they've been tooling around with Yars. Now, they just released Yars Rising last year, and it was pretty good. It didn't make the top 100, but I ain't mad at it. It's a good game, and they should keep taking brave steps and swings with that. But I really like what Sneaky Box did with Yars Recharged, and it's hard to describe the difference or what makes this game cool, but there's something about the milieu of the game, the environment. It seems desolate, it seems hopeless, it seems lonely. I don't know, but it's the same principle as the old game Yars Revenge that we all know and love, where you take a little bug and he's basically going up against some enemy that has the name that starts with the letter Q. We're trying to blow this bad guy up with the missile, but it takes a while. He's got these shields that we gotta wear down. There's just all sorts of different types of weaponry. Each level gets progressively more chaotic, and you never know what you're going to see next. This game never progresses the same way twice. There's a two-player option. You can play it with the classic joystick or the modern joystick, and there's a lot of different options that change the gameplay and can affect your score at the end. Again, this is a recharge game, so the worldwide leaderboards are something cool to behold. I love the gameplay of Yars Recharged. I don't know if it's superior to Yars Revenge, but it's damn good, and it deserves a spot on this list. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that Activision made some of the best Atari 2600 games by far. In fact, the team that does Atari 2600 Activision games, they're still releasing Atari 2600 games under the label Audacity. They've released Casey's Gold. They've released Circus Convoy. Unreal games that you should check out. But Kaboom is a paddle game that everybody probably has seen, and it's very similar to an Atari arcade game called Avalanche. Avalanche was pretty good, but this game features something that's scarier, bombs falling out of the sky with a mad bomber. It's got a little bit more personality. It's a simple game. You use the paddle to try to catch bombs as this lunatic is throwing bombs all over the place. And the only thing I would like to say to Activision is, hey, this is all well and good. We appreciate the bomb catching technology, but would it have killed you to hire a sniper? Can we just take this knucklehead out? Just one shot between the eyes. Bada boom, get him out of here. I've said several times on this list that Atari is known for inventing arcade games with new ways to interact with the game. Hell, for Christ's sake, one of the earlier games they invented, you controlled somebody with a pair of boobs. So yeah, they're always pushing the envelope, and besides the stupid boob thing, they normally hit a home run. If you've ever played Paperboy in the arcades, they actually had handlebars on the machine with the brake and the little buttons so you could throw your newspaper to the left. It's an excellent, excellent game. A great premise, and I can't believe, still to this day, how challenging this thing is. It seems like it would be so easy. And let me tell you something. I've never been a Paperboy, but I think being a Paperboy in real life would be a lot easier than this stuff. Normally, it's vice versa. You know, driving at 280 miles an hour, blowing up an alien armada, catching a touchdown in the Super Bowl. All much easier on the video game side. But I do think being a Paperboy in real life, unless you're really fat and out of shape, gosh, the arcade version of this is insane. A word to the wise: if you're a newer person and you get one of these arcade one-ups or emulators or anything like this to play Paperboy on, just be aware that the experience is marred because there's something about the way that you push the handlebars forward and backward that controls the speed and the bike's progression that is really hard to replicate on modern controllers. And it just doesn't feel right. If you ever really want to play Paperboy, you've got to find an arcade machine or a specialized controller that's got the little funky self-centering gimmick in it. At number 21 is a game that Atari kind of threw together, and they even put it in an old Star Raiders box, and it was black and white. What? This is one of the best 2600 games ever, and they kind of just threw it together, slapdash. This was a game that was released near the Atari's situation where they didn't really know what they were doing. They were screwing up the release of the Atari 7800, and the Nintendo Entertainment System was here, and it was kicking everybody's butts. What is amazing is Solaris. I just watched a video on the Atari Network where Silverback was talking to his guest about how you make Atari 2600 games. And it's amazing what these guys did with such little RAM. I mean, we're talking like bits, not thousands of bits, just bits. And the Atari 2600, this guy said on his show, was basically invented to play Pong and to play Combat. And that was it. And the fact that people still to this day are squeezing out titles as gigantic and fun and clever with this system is just amazing. But Solaris was made in the 80s, and it combines space shooting, adventure, rescuing people on planets, blowing up planets, dogfighting, wormholes, fuel management, radars, another type of radar. It's incredible. The game can be beaten. Unfortunately, the ending sucks. But the good news is this game is so difficult, you'll probably never, ever, ever even get a chance to see this. I remember as a kid getting a notebook and a pen and mapping out the Solaris galaxy and trying to figure out where to go and how to get to the last screen and without killing myself in the process. It's extremely challenging. There's tons of different types of enemies. There's tons of different types of scenarios. It's just amazing. If you've never played Solaris, even if you're a younger person, this game, good grief, unreal. You should play it and enjoy it and just marvel at what people could do with such a limited console. Solaris is a joy to play and the 21st best Atari game of all time. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching this list. If you want to meet me, I will be at Hot Atlanta March 14th through 16th in Buford, Georgia. I will be selling a lot of my Wrestling with Ghosts / movie merchandise. I'd love to talk to you, give you an autograph, grab your butt, only if you consent. Be sure to watch out. We're going to be releasing Showdown in Secret City and the movie Donna's Market within the next 10 months or so. And these are horror comedies in the universe of the Smoky Mountain Chronicles made by Big and Funky Productions. Guys, stay tuned. The top 20 is next. Can you believe it? Pinch your tits, slap your mom. It's time. It's going to get it's just going to get really crazy.